Sadly, the truth is not everyone is genuine enough to tell you directly that they don't like you. They often mask their true feelings behind fake smiles, polite words, and a forced demeanor. Perhaps you've experienced the feeling of trusting someone as a friend, only to realize they didn't truly wish you well. It's a painful experience to have your trust betrayed. However, if we don't learn to recognize these signs, we'll continue to invest time and energy in relationships that don't bring positive value. They might be envious of your success, feel threatened by your confidence, or simply not share your outlook on life. Whatever the reason, acknowledging this truth is crucial for protecting yourself and nurturing truly meaningful connections. That's why today we'll peel back the layers of pretense and uncover the subtle signs that someone might not like you, even if they're trying to hide it. The truth may not be easy to hear, but facing it is the only way to grow and find genuine happiness. Be brave and confront the truth, because only when you know who truly supports you can you build sincere and lasting relationships. Before we embark on this journey of discovery, take a moment to hit the subscribe button on my channel. That way, you won't miss any videos in this helpful series, as well as other valuable content I'll be sharing in the future. Now let's dive into this journey of uncovering the truth. And number 1. First, they always joke about your flaws. We've probably all met someone like this, a person who tries to turn every conversation into a joke, especially when the subject of the joke is you. Sometimes these jokes can be dismissed lightly with the familiar phrase, "I'm just kidding." However, there is a fine line between innocent humor and calculated mockery. When these jokes target your flaws, small mistakes, or traits you're not happy with, it might be time to ask yourself, does this person really have good intentions? First and foremost, remember that when someone frequently jokes about your flaws, it could be a sign of an unhealthy relationship. For example, they might often bring up a small mistake you made a long time ago. They may say things like, "Remember the time you spilled coffee on the boss's shirt? Oh, what a disaster." They repeat these mistakes over and over, making it impossible for you to forget, even though you've tried to move on. At first, these comments might sound like harmless humor, but when repeated frequently, they start to feel like a deliberate attack aimed at undermining your self-esteem. Consider a specific situation. You have a friend in your group who always seems to enjoy teasing. They frequently point out your little flaws, such as your slight nervousness when speaking in public or your tendency to forget your house keys. Every time you meet the group, they tell a story about how you did something silly, always accompanied by a smile and the phrase, "Oh, I'm just joking." At first, you laugh along, thinking it's just a joke. But gradually you start to feel uncomfortable. You find yourself becoming more self-conscious and anxious around them, always wondering if they're going to make you the subject of their jokes again. These jokes, instead of bringing joy, gradually cause you to lose confidence. You start to doubt yourself, wondering if your flaws are so obvious that everyone notices them and turns them into subjects of humor. Those harmless jokes begin to erode your self-esteem, making you feel increasingly inadequate and not good enough. The dangerous part here is that the person can continue to make jokes without being questioned because they can always evade responsibility with the simple phrase, "I'm just joking." In reality, these jokes often contain a deep-seated mockery, cleverly disguised under a layer of humor. They may be a way for that person to express dislike or jealousy, or even to keep you in a lower position, making themselves feel superior to you. By focusing on your flaws and continuously bringing them up in the form of jokes, they create an environment where you always feel inadequate, as if you're always at a disadvantage. For instance, in a group of friends, there might be someone who constantly points out minor mistakes in your style. They frequently say things like, "Oh, your shirt looks a bit outdated today, just kidding." Or, "You're wearing those shoes again? I think I've seen you in them all week." At first, you might smile and brush it off, but gradually, you start feeling insecure about your appearance, worrying whether you'll be criticized every time you walk into the room. In these situations, it's crucial to recognize that these are not harmless jokes. They can hurt you and significantly impact your emotions and self-esteem. Don't be afraid to set boundaries and speak up when necessary. Let the person know that such jokes are no longer funny to you. If they truly respect you, they will understand and change their behavior. If not, it might be time to reconsider that relationship. Number 2. Short and unenthusiastic responses. Short and unenthusiastic responses are a clear sign that someone may not truly be interested in having a conversation with you. Imagine meeting a friend after a long time and eagerly sharing stories about your recent trip, describing the exciting experiences and the beautiful places you visited. You talk about your emotions when you first saw a majestic waterfall, the unique dishes you tried, and the meaningful encounters with new friends. However, in response to all your vivid and colorful stories, you receive only brief, indifferent replies like, "Uh-huh," "Oh, really," or "That's right." At first, you might think they are busy or not fully hearing what you're saying. But when the situation repeats itself multiple times, you begin to realize that the issue might not simply be a lack of focus. In reality, they do not ask any follow-up questions to continue the conversation or show any curiosity or desire to understand more about what you are sharing. Instead, they merely respond with simple, superficial words and do not attempt to create a real dialogue. This can make you feel as if your stories are not worth their attention, that your feelings and experiences are not valuable to them. You might even start to wonder if something is wrong with you, or if you have done something to cause them to lose interest. However, the truth is that such short and unenthusiastic responses may indicate deeper issues. Sometimes, such responses can suggest that the person does not truly value the relationship with you, or does not want to invest the time and energy to maintain a meaningful conversation. They may not want to build a deeper connection, or may feel that this relationship no longer holds much significance for them. In these cases, the brief responses are simply a way for them to indirectly express a lack of interest or a reluctance to continue the connection. Conversely, a friend who genuinely cares about you will always want to engage in the conversation, ask questions to learn more about you, and share their feelings and thoughts. They won't just respond with short words. Instead, they will add questions like, "Really? How did you feel at that moment?" Or, "What do you think about that?" This shows that they are not just listening passively, but are actively participating and interested in what you are sharing. If you find yourself frequently receiving short and unenthusiastic responses from someone, consider whether this relationship is worth continuing to invest your time and emotions in. Sometimes it's best to seek out those who truly value and respect your stories, those who not only listen, but also sincerely and enthusiastically want to be a part of your life journey. Number 3, they are always busy. When someone is always busy or trying to avoid you, it is a clear sign that they no longer want to invest in the relationship. You may notice that they frequently come up with excuses not to meet or spend time with you. At first, you might believe that they are genuinely busy with work, studies, or other personal responsibilities. They might say, "I'm so busy. I have something urgent today," or "I'll check my schedule." without ever providing a specific time to meet. However, when this pattern repeats itself and the reasons seem vague and unclear, it's time to ask yourself whether this is a subtle way for them to avoid you. Imagine you have a friend whom you greatly value, and it has been a long time since you both had a chance to meet. You try to reach out and suggest a coffee or dinner to catch up and share stories about your lives. But every time you propose a meeting, they always have a reason to decline. "Oh, I'm very busy this week, I have an important meeting," or "I'm not feeling well." Once or twice you may feel sympathetic because everyone has busy moments. But when this becomes a repeated pattern with no effort on their part to reschedule, you begin to realize something is not right. Excuses like being busy or having urgent matters are often used as a way to maintain distance without having to speak the truth. It's a safe tactic to avoid the discomfort of a direct conversation about not wanting to invest time in the relationship anymore. Instead of being honest and straightforward, they choose avoidance because it is easier and doesn't create any disruptions. However, continuously making excuses not only hurts the other person, but also shows a lack of respect for the relationship and the other's time. Another example is when you suggest going out over the weekend, and they reply that they have to work or have plans with their family. Initially, you accept this explanation, thinking they genuinely have valid reasons. But when you begin to notice that they always find ways to avoid meeting up without ever offering an alternative, you understand that the problem is not just about being busy. It is a lack of desire to meet, to spend time with you, and to allow the relationship to grow. In some cases, they may genuinely be busy or going through a difficult time they are not yet ready to share. But if they care about you, they will clarify their situation and make efforts to maintain the connection. They might say, "I am really busy, but I want to see you. Let me rearrange things and get back to you." This is the difference between making excuses and expressing a genuine desire to continue the relationship. Therefore, if you feel you are always the one reaching out, suggesting meetings, and constantly receiving vague refusals, it is time to reassess the value of this relationship. Life is too short to spend time and energy on people who do not want to meet you, who always find ways to avoid you, and who do not appreciate you. Seek out friends who genuinely care and are willing to make time to be with you, no matter how busy life gets. So number 4, they subtly exclude you from their plans. These small things are often the most painful, like when you realize that your friends have conveniently forgotten to invite you to dinner, a party, or a weekend outing. They will swear it was just an oversight, a last-minute arrangement, or, worse, they might claim that they thought you were too busy. But let's be realistic. These are rarely accidental occurrences. This is often a sign of subtle social exclusion, a clear indication that you're not as valued as you might think. For example, imagine you have a close group of friends you regularly hang out with on weekends. One day, you accidentally come across photos they posted on social media from a dinner party you were not invited to. When you ask about it, they laugh and say, "Oh, it was just a last-minute plan. We thought you were busy, so we didn't call." At first, you might let it slide, thinking they genuinely forgot. But when this happens repeatedly, with various parties, outings, and other activities, you start to realize that these are not just random oversights. At this point, you begin to feel excluded, no longer a part of the group as you once were. This lack of invitations, though unspoken, becomes painfully clear. You are no longer within their close circle. This exclusion makes you feel hurt and lonely because you realize you are not as valued or seen as important to them anymore. In reality, this behavior is their way of showing that they no longer want to spend time with you, but they don't have the courage to say it directly. It's a sign that the respect for you has diminished. Being excluded from social plans is a way to create an invisible distance between you and them, gradually pushing you out of their lives without having to have a direct conversation. In such situations, it is important to see things clearly. If a person or a group consistently leaves you out, whether intentionally or unintentionally, it is a clear sign that you are no longer valued as before. Instead of blaming yourself or feeling undeserving, you need to face the reality that it might be time to focus on other relationships where you are genuinely valued and warmly welcomed. Number 5. They give compliments that sound like insults. We've all experienced this when someone gives a compliment, but instead of making you feel good or appreciated, it feels like you've just been lightly slapped with a velvet glove. It's the kind of compliment that makes you pause and think, wait a minute, was that really a compliment or an insult? And the harsh reality is, it's often both. These kinds of compliments are a subtle, almost sneaky way for someone to make you feel smaller, while still appearing polite and kind. These types of remarks are often referred to as backhanded compliments or insulting compliments. They can come in many forms, but they all share a common trait. They always leave the recipient feeling conflicted and uncomfortable. For example, you might hear someone say, "Wow, you look so much better than usual today." At first, this seems like a compliment, but if you think about it, there's an underlying implication. You usually don't look good, or at least not as good as you do today. It's a compliment that carries an insult. Another example could be when someone says to you, "I'm really surprised you did so well in your presentation today." On the surface, this appears to be a compliment about your presentation skills. However, if you look closer, you'll notice that they are expressing unnecessary surprise, implying they didn't expect much from you in the first place. This remark not only downplays your achievement but also makes you feel like your success is an unexpected and insignificant event. Imagine this situation. You've just changed your hairstyle and are feeling very confident about your new look. When you meet a friend, they smile and say, "Oh, you changed your hair. It doesn't look bad, quite unique." Even though they used seemingly positive words like "not bad" and "unique," the meaning behind the statement isn't genuinely complimentary. Instead, it suggests that there's something odd or off about your hairstyle, and the compliment is just a way to minimize their discomfort or surprise about your change. Such compliments can be a tool for people who want to maintain a sense of superiority over you. They allow the person to appear kind on the surface while subtly undermining your value or confidence. They might smile and look at you with apparent goodwill, but deep down, they are engaging in a power play you might not even realize. These insulting compliments can erode your confidence slowly and insidiously, making you constantly question your worth and feel less confident in situations where you should feel proud. It's important to recognize these types of compliments and distinguish them from genuine ones. When faced with these backhanded compliments, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. What do you mean by that? This forces the other person to explain their true intent and might make them think twice before giving similar compliments in the future. In relationships where you frequently receive such comments, it may be worth reevaluating how close you are and how much respect that relationship truly offers you. Number 6. Awkward or tense expressions. One of the most recognizable signs that someone is not truly comfortable around you is an awkward or tense expression. These signs can become evident through actions like a smile that seems forced, a smile that doesn't reach the eyes, or a facial expression that appears tense. When someone doesn't like you but tries to hide their feelings, they often attempt to act friendly, but they can't completely conceal their true emotions. These signs can be subtle, but if you pay close attention, they will become noticeable. For example, imagine you're in a group meeting and a colleague always smiles when you speak, but their smile never reaches their eyes. Sometimes their smile is just a slight movement of the lips without any change in their eyes or facial muscles. Every time you glance over, you might catch them quickly looking away or showing slight tension in their face, such as furrowed brows or a tightened jaw. These expressions indicate they are trying to appear friendly and agreeable but are actually hiding some discomfort when interacting with you. Another example is when you meet someone at a party or social gathering. They smile at you but quickly look away, and their smile doesn't seem genuinely warm or comfortable. You might notice them glancing around the room as if looking for someone else or wanting to end the conversation quickly. They may answer your questions briefly, rigidly, and without enthusiasm. Instead of continuing the conversation, they tend to avoid engagement, creating the impression that they want to escape the situation as quickly as possible. These behaviors suggest they are uncomfortable around you but are still trying to maintain an outward appearance of friendliness. At times, tense expressions can also be conveyed through small gestures we often overlook. For instance, when they talk to you, they might frequently touch their face, rub their forehead, or even clench their hands. These gestures are signs that they are feeling anxious or uneasy. They may also shift their posture frequently, from crossing their arms to stretching them out, or they may fidget and move their body in an unnatural way. These expressions are clear signs that they feel uncomfortable around you, but do not want to hurt your feelings or create an awkward situation. These are ways the body reacts when the mind cannot fully control its emotions. If you notice these signs often, it might be a warning that your relationship with that person is not as positive as you might have thought. This can help you adjust your approach and interactions with them, or even decide whether the relationship is worth continuing to invest in. Number 7. They are always absent when you are in trouble. One of the clearest signs that someone doesn't truly care about you is when they are always absent during times when you need help or support. In life, everyone goes through difficult and challenging phases, and these are the moments when we need the companionship and support of true friends. However, if someone consistently avoids or is never present when you are struggling, it might be a sign that they don't value their relationship with you as much as you think. For example, imagine you're going through a tough time at work. You are overwhelmed with work pressure and facing difficulties with an important project. You have confided in a close friend hoping they will listen, comfort, or at least encourage you. But instead of being there to support you, they always find excuses to avoid meeting you. They say they are busy, have unexpected events, or even seem uninterested in what you're going through. Gradually, you realize they only show up when everything is going well and happy, but disappear whenever you need someone by your side. Another example could be when you're dealing with a health issue or a family problem. You feel exhausted and need a friend to talk to and share your feelings with. However, when you try to reach out to them, they always have reasons not to come. They might say they have a busy schedule, an unmissable event, or sometimes not even respond to your messages or calls. They promise to meet when they have time, but that time never seems to come. You start to feel abandoned, lonely, and realize that you can't rely on them when you genuinely need support. This behavior reflects a lack of concern and investment in the relationship. A true friend won't hesitate to show up when you need them, no matter how difficult the situation may be. They will not only be with you during moments of joy and ease, but will also be willing to stand by you in times of sorrow and hardship. Their frequent absence when you are in trouble is a clear indication that the relationship is unbalanced and perhaps you are placing too much expectation on someone who doesn't deserve it. In reality, when someone is not willing to support you during difficult times, they are sending a message that you are not important to them. You are not a priority in their life, and your friendship is not worth their time and emotional investment. This is an important lesson for you to reassess the people around you and recognize who truly cares and who is only present when things are going well. You deserve relationships where both sides are willing to support and accompany each other in all circumstances. In life, we can't always avoid complex relationships, and sometimes understanding the true feelings of others can help you know where you stand in a relationship. The signs we discussed today are subtle yet significant cues that help you recognize when someone may not genuinely like you, even if they try to hide it. Remember, not everyone will like you, and that's perfectly okay. What matters most is that you know your worth and invest your time and emotions in relationships where you are loved and respected. Don't let anyone diminish your confidence or self-esteem just because they don't like you. Focus on the people who truly appreciate you and bring joy and support into your life. If you found this video helpful, don't hesitate to hit the like button and share it so that others can also recognize these signs and improve their relationships. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on future content, where we will continue to share valuable tips to help you build a more positive and meaningful life. Finally, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts in the comments section about your experiences with these signs or any questions you might have. We look forward to connecting with you. Thank you and see you in the next video.